welcome to another edition of www.winemastery.co.uk. I'm John Lyford and this is...
John Murphy.
Yay!
I gotta treat you again.
Oh, super. If you see the introduction, you understand that bit. Anyway, we're here to talk about rosés, and this is part one of 3 parts, as normal in our videos. And so the first rosé, what is it?
Yes, our first rosé. Now, rosé it has taken, well, no, it's coming back now. Rosé was beaten up, it took a bit of a hammering, because everybody assumes that rosé is just that horrible kind. Well, I won't say horrible, that's the wrong word.
That's the wrong word?
Yeah, because
that's
it's not...
That's the word I used earlier.
But rosé is generally thought of as a very kind of sweet wine, and not to everybody's taste. I mean, lots of people do like the sweeter rosés, and there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. But I'm going to show you some different styles of rosé today, starting with our first one. Okay. Now, this is probably one of the most well-known. It's a Californian rosé, and it's a Zinfandel.
Zinfandel. Sounds like a film star.
It could be, but what kind of film star? Particularly the Beringer Zinfandel. Now, Zinfandel is, as you will have guessed, the actual grape here. Now, an ordinary Zinfandel tends to be a big, well, it's huge, massive, full-bodied red wine. So obviously, to make a rosé out of a red wine, and this is the same of all rosés, obviously to make a white wine, we've said this before, you squeeze the grape, you get the grape juice. Same from a red grape or a white grape or a black grape and a white grape, it's the same colour juice that comes out. So to get the colouring in there, basically they just leave the skins with the grape juice, and that imparts a little bit of colour. And that is basically how they make a rosé. Very basic, but yeah, they just leave the skins in there for a short amount of time, so it takes a little bit of colour from the grape skin. So although this is a black grape or a red grape, all they've done is left the skin in there for a short amount of time, then remove the skin, so it gives you this slight pink hue or a blush.
You might not know the answer to this.
Okay.
But they leave the skin. How do they get the skin? Do they have to sort of pick them bit by bit, or do they?
I don't think it's bit by bit. I don't know the exact answer, but I'm sure there are a few different methods.
Float to the surface.
They would do, yeah.
Or they might strain them, I guess.
They definitely have to strain them.
Yeah.
But it's at what point they do that as well.
Yeah.
Who decides?
Yeah. Who decides?
I wouldn't know. I'm a mere cheesemonger with little wine knowledge. I'm no winemaker. But starting off with probably the most well-known, the best well-known it's called a white Zinfandel, as well as generally what they do call it. And generally it is quite, well, you can see that it's just a pink hue. It's not too rich, not too deep in there whatsoever, but very clean, very fresh. Yep. You can see that. Now, this in particular one is one of the first kinds of rosés which I did talk about, which is the sweeter kind. Well, have a look. Have a smell. Let's have a little smell first. Okay. And you can smell the sweetness in there immediately. You can know from on the nose what that's going to taste like.
It smells like Asti Spumante.
There's a honeyed kind of sweetness there for me.
Yeah.
And it is that kind of stereotypical kind of, which again is not a bad thing, but it's strawberries, that kind of lush strawberries, and you expect that from them. It smells a bit like the almost fake, like those those sweeties that you used to get, strawberry laces. Do you remember the strawberry laces?
Oh yeah, you still get them.
Yeah,
yeah. 3 packs for £1.
How do you know that?
Yeah, my wife buys them for the kids at the dance school.
Yeah. We should have got some of them.
Tasted them. Yeah.
So anyway, a little taste of this.
Okay. Starts off very sweet. And then the sweetness dies slightly.
That's the acidity in there, kind of. Although it's got that sweetness, it's not what you call a cloyy sweetness. It's a fresh sweetness, because the the acidity in there is managed to kind of clean the palate. So although you do get that little hit of sweetness there, the acidity kind of takes that away. So yeah, it's nice and fresh then. But the sweetness, again, it's not to everybody's taste, is that? And basically, a good tip for you if you are looking for a rosé, or a dry one or a sweet one. Basically, when they are making the wine, again, it's the sugars that turn into alcohol in the fermentation process. Now, to make a kind of a sweeter wine, or well, rosé or wine, what they tend to do is they stop the fermentation process. So that leaves a lot of the sugars in there. So that's where you're getting that sweeter flavour. Obviously, it's the natural sugars in there. But what you'll tend to find is the lower in alcohol the wine is, the sweeter it tends to be.
Okay.
So when it gets about 13, 14, 15, the kind of alcohol stops the fermentation completely. So obviously, the higher in alcohol, the drier it is.
Okay.
But what are you thinking as a rosé? Because we were saying you're not a particular fan of rosé.
I think it's something that I would enjoy if someone handed me one, but it's not one I would go out and buy.
Not something you choose. Well,
no.
I couldn't say it was something that I would choose. Well, it's a mood thing, isn't it? But I don't think I would particularly choose to.
What would you eat with this?
Oh, very little. It's not really going to take on a lot of food, really. This is just
garden.
Yeah,
Nice
I mean, and everybody does say, you know, you got the nice summer evening, you get the rosé, and it's fair. It does work.
Yeah.
So just light bites, Olivier, tapas, just nibbles. I wouldn't put that with any kind of robust meal at all.
Okay.
It does tend to die off quite quickly as well, but I think that is quite appealing of this ilk of wine. You know, you don't want that power of flavour. You don't want it particularly
because you want to take another sip.
Yeah, just go for it. I mean, that is, as I'm having more there, it is growing on me quite a lot. Really surprising. I'm thinking because it's leaving that kind of strawberry-esque flavour going. It's making me want to kind of drink, you know, have another little sip. So that for me does. I would say that's a good wine if I want to put, you know, have more and taste more from that. That's
how much would that retail at?
That is retail about £10. That one.
Okay.
Which is not unfair. That's all right. I'd pay £10 for that.
Okay.
You can get better priced ones.
Yeah. Well, I think certainly of the rosés I've tasted at some garden parties, it's you know, a step up from those.
Yeah, not naming
anyone's garden party in particular. No.
Harold.
I told you not to mention it.
But no, nice, easygoing, nice introduction to the rosé.
Very, very nice indeed. Okay, so that's number 1 down.
Yes.
And now on to number 2, and we'll see you in part 2 for that one. Chin chin.